Good morning, good morning. Trazana Staples here. I hope this Sunday morning or evening or night, wherever you are is doing you well. Um, I have a quick hack for my stroke survivors. So, as you know, I am 3 years post stroke. And if you are already on your stroke recovery journey or you just had a stroke, not only this hack or this information is for stroke survivors, but it's also for your caregivers. After so long, it depends on your insurance company, they might say you have utilized all of your physical therapy and you're left to pay for it on your own. And if you had an experience like mine, unless you were one of the 1% that had enormous amounts of income saved or stored up, you had to utilize what you had for your medical expenses, transportation, medicine, whatever it is, paying for people to come help you, whatever it is. Because once you get out the hospital, you're on your own. So, what I have found, I live in Cincinnati, and most of my health team are at the University of Cincinnati. Um, they have stroke studies. Now, what I found through my readings is strokes were somewhat of a phenomenon. At one point, I read in some report that strokes was an effect of the heart, or um, it it only uh, pertained to paralysis on your limbs. It wasn't until 1970 or so that Western medicine, our world health, contributed strokes to the brain, and it was considered a brain injury. Now, my stroke happened on the left side of my brain and two different parts of my brain, and it was close to the frontal. So my speech and communication was affected, and my right side was affected. Now, not everybody has the same effects from a stroke, but it is a brain injury, and the brain controls everything in your body. Um, so it's just a little information I had read, and I behoove you to read for yourself, internalize the information for yourself, not necessarily or not what I told you or what somebody told you. Read it and allow your spirit to embrace the knowledge. Because what works for me may not work for you. So, with that being said, I probably in my 6 month of stroke recovery, I took a stroke study, and it was um, about walking. And it was took about, I think, 6 months or so, I think, or maybe it wasn't. I can't remember. But anyway, my physical therapist, when I was coming to the end of my physical therapy and my insurance said, no, no more for you, she said, we have a stroke study that will give you extra practice and therapy for walking. And it was Dr. Awosika. I can't pronounce his name. Um, Awosika, I think his name is. I'll put it in the bottom of this video. From UC, had a stroke study, and his study had me walking backwards, walking forward, and I would do that for about, I think, about a month and a half. I could be wrong. But then I did another stroke study from someone else, another doctor at UC, and it was about uh, healthcare in terms of stroke care, um, about your emotions, depression, and stuff like that. And it was cool too because I met my good friends, Jennifer and Larry. Boruff, and I'm trying to get Larry to do a video with me one day. But anyway, the stroke study, I know that stroke study lasted about 6 months. And the fabulous thing about the stroke study or stroke studies, you get some type of incentive, whether it's a gift card or reading materials, books, or compensation. It doesn't matter. And these studies don't ask you to take medicine, because if you're like me, I'm naturopathic, and I choose not to take pharmaceutical medication. But that is on the individual to decide for themselves. What Talking with your healthcare provider, finding what is good for you. But anyway, wherever you live, if you live near a hospital, a university, a teaching medical center, ask around to see if they have any stroke studies and if they were accepting participants, because that's the way to extend your physical therapy. And that the first stroke study I participated in, with Dr. Awosika, they just called me back for the second half, and it's all over again. So about walking backwards, and the thing about the brain, you can train your brain to do what it was doing before the stroke, to go to another path. So sometimes you have to do things like walking backwards. Believe it or not, that helps walking forward. So that's a little tidbit for my stroke survivors. Um, I have found um, that there are stroke studies that um, that they're studying how the effects of yoga and meditation help stroke survivors, how music helps stroke survivors, how art helps stroke survivors. It depends on where you are, what and what is offered. And I constantly look for those things. Now we're in the era of COVID, so a lot of things have been discontinued, but for the most part, they are safe. They're wearing People are wearing masks. Your social distance. Everything is clean and safe. So I hope that helps someone. It's early in the morning. I'm drinking my coffee and my speech is a little bit muffled. At least for me, I think it is. So I hope it makes sense. I hope it helped. And happy winter solstice. My name is Trazana Staples. I had a stroke. I am a stroke survivor. I am a phoenix rising. Take care. Have an awesome week. Have a phenomenal week. And enjoy the rest of your day. Peace, love, and light.